Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Apex Racing TV's coverage of the iRacing official IMSA Sportscar Championship here at Circuit de Francorchamps for round number 2 of the championship. Alongside me tonight, as always, is Daniel Leet. Welcome, Daniel. 32 drivers in this field here tonight, but certainly a great turnout here for the second round of the championship.
Yeah, good evening, Scott, and to all the viewers tuning in. Great to be back, and really looking forward to seeing how the drivers all get around Spa tonight. We know it's a fantastic circuit to not only race around but also to go and visit. So I think we're going to be in for a real treat tonight for race 2 of the season.
Yeah, certainly. Last week at Interlagos, we had a fantastic race between both the GTE and the GT3 classes. Sadly, wasn't able to bring that fully in terms of the broadcast quality, so once again apologies for that, but certainly looking forward to second round of the championship as we got just under 3 and a bit minutes to go as times are rolling in with this very long lap here at Spa. Currently on the provisional pole at the moment is Daniel Juncadella, which I think he will have to abort his second lap, but certainly put it in a great provisional pole times at the moment.
Yeah, pace is really good out there at the moment. Yucadella's got a 1 second advantage over Tim Eliza. Two BMWs out front, so great to see that. In the GT3 class, a little bit of a change up to what we traditionally see out the front. As you see, Jeremiah Morton going around at the moment in the Mercedes, but out front, Martin Christensen leading the way with a really solid time at 2:14.3. So the Audi working exceptionally well around this circuit tonight.
Yeah, certainly. Martin was actually very quick last week, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, he took out last week's class win. So certainly looking to do the double here for Radicals Online. Very strong driver with nearly 7.5 KI rating. So I think being car number 1, he will certainly be one to watch tonight. Last season's broadcasted split GT3 champion was Clint Smith, currently sitting in the 3rd position at the moment. Adam Wolkowitz is in the 2nd position at the moment, so he's putting in a very strong time. So Audi front row in the GT3s for now.
Yeah, and the Audi I think is probably going to have a little bit better balance around this circuit, especially through some of the higher speed corners. It does tip in quite nicely, so we'll keep an eye on that for around the course of the lap around here. Surprising note, we do have a couple of pro drivers out here, as you mentioned before, Juncadella on pole position. Well, I did see Dylan Pereira as well, a little bit further down, hasn't set a time at the moment, but great to have another real life racer out on track at the moment. You see him there in the IMSA Ferrari as well.
Yeah, coming up to Blanchimont for the 2nd time. I think he must have invalidated his first lap, as he hasn't set in a qualifying time yet. And up to the bus stop chicane he goes. Got 54 seconds left on the clock. So a little bit cautious through the bus stop there, just wanting to make sure he doesn't get the off track, and runs it to the line. What kind of time does he do? And he puts it in 3rd, so a great time for him to 12.3, but ultimately a little bit off the pace compared to Juncadella, about 1.2 seconds off. So looks as though that most of the drivers have been able to put in times at the moment. Looking Tim Weston on his 2nd lap, but with 20 seconds to go, I don't think he will make it across. Osmar Schultz currently sitting in the 10th position in class, 25th overall at the moment, but to put his 2nd time lap in. Will he improve on a 2:17.7? And he does, marginally on a 2:17.2. Does not move up a position from what I can see. But that will pretty much conclude the qualifying for the 2nd round of the championship here at Circuit de Francorchamps. We'll be able to take you through the grid. So Daniel Juncadella on the pole position with a time of 2 minute 11.038. Tim Eliza on the outside of the front row. Dylan Pereira in the 3rd position, Jackson Free 4th, Koki Mizuno in the 5th position, Coppitas Laurent, very, very strong time for him in the Ferrari 6th position. 7th goes to Reece Saunders, Giovanni Pacifici in the 8th position, Jason Muscat in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Tim Weston. Michael Thomas in the 11th position, Matthew Littlefair, series regular from the last season as well, in the 12th position, Chris Taylor in the 13th position, Chris Barnes 14th, Peter Coulson 15th, Scotty Harris 16th, Brad Yassen, Philip Kraus and Lance Loomis in the 17th, 18th and 19th position, and rounding out the GTEs. Martin Christensen in the pole position for the GT3 category with a time of 2 minute 14.029. Adam Walkowitz in 2nd position, Andreas Fink 3rd, Clint Smith in the 4th position, so a little bit further back than Clint would have liked, but we'll see how he progresses through the field in the leading Mercedes. Jeremiah Morton in 5th, Gabriel Rizzo in the 6th position, Theo Grant, Oliver Krupp, Ricardo Gallarata in the 9th position, Osmar Schultz 10th, Bastian Matla in the 11th position, Matt Kosher in the 12th position, and rounding out the field is Paul Metters.
So while we wait for the grid to get underway here, which will happen momentarily, a couple of key points we'll quickly touch on that we're going to have to keep an eye on throughout the course of the race. Obviously, the run up into turn 1 through La Source, the big run up over the hill through Rouge and Radion is going to provide some really good racing, especially right here at the start. And then towards the back end of the lap, the run through Poulon, Stavlo and Blanchimont, always a chance where these guys can potentially run off track. So keeping the car control through there and minimising those off tracks is going to be key to being able to finish it. Obviously, only 17 incident limit tonight, so the guys will need to be really, really cautious of that.
Yeah, very, very short pace lap, and the pace car is in, and Juncadella has the control of the start, and being on the GP layout, Juncadella will get a great start and will lead the GTEs into turn 1. Ielza in the 2nd position, and Pereira looking up the inside into turn 1. Not able to get the move done, but it looks as though that everyone's pretty much moving through single file. And looking at the GT3s, always a little bit of side-by-side action going through there. And we've got a spinner in the background with car number 9 in Mercedes, but Christensen leading into turn 1, got a huge gap of 0.8 of a second, so he's moved up very, very strongly. And it looks as though that everyone has pretty much had a clean start throughout the field, apart from that spinning Mercedes. Pereira looking up the inside of the BMW of Ielza and gets the move done. Oh no, there's a bit of contact, and that'll send him around, and everyone will be in avoiding mode, and I think there's going to be a bit of contact as well, so unfortunate for Pereira. He falls back to the 19th position, and we've got Theo Grant, and I think that's Gabriel Rizzo side by side through into Lacombe, and Theo Grant getting the position up into 6th. It's a great move for Theo Grant around the outside. A couple of positions changed as well. Jason Muscat around at Pouon, unfortunate for him.
Yeah, and that'll be an easy spot to go around, especially on the cold tyres. The back end's going to want to step out in these cars. I think you'll get away with that without too much damage on that car, but they should be able to clear so the GT3 guys can come through. Coppitas Laurent up on screen at the moment. His car looking pretty straight. Looks like all the corners are still on that one. Hasn't had any contact, so a good start for him. But of the guys that have been in trouble, I think Pereira's jumped back to the pits now. Oliver Krupp, who had some issues as well, has likewise gone back into pit lane as well, so potentially 2 cars out at the end of lap 1 here.
So just looking to come around to the start of the 2nd lap, conclusion of the 1st lap, so Juncadella has opened up a massive 4.2 second lead over Ielza, both in the BMW. Jackson Free has had a very, very strong start up into the 3rd position. Mizuno up another position, Saunders up 2. Biggest move in the GTEs at the moment is Philip Kraus in terms of positions gained, and sadly Pacifici is out, or is in the pit lane right now, so not sure what's happened to him, but we'll see whether he's able to rejoin the race. And Pereira is out by the looks of it as well, so unfortunate for Pereira from his strong qualifying position. Just looking at Chris Taylor as well, trying to put pressure on Scotty Harris in the BMW, but not able to get the job done, falls in behind.
And being in behind here is probably not a bad way to be. It will give him a chance to slowly close up on the back, maybe conserve those tyres a little bit. We are only lap 2 and halfway through this one, so a long way still left to go in this race, and just a little bit of time here probably going to be a good way to go. Have a look out front though, Pereira already opening that margin quite a long way, 4.5 seconds at the moment over Eliza, so he's really getting on with it. And likewise, Eliza's starting to get a little bit of a gap now over the third position of Jackson Freer. So Pereira with the cold start has been absolutely fantastic in the BMW at the moment.
I think you might find that Pereira's into the pit lane. It's Giuncadella that's leading.
Correction, yes, Giuncadella. So he's been fantastic on those cold tyres. Sorry.
But yeah, just turning back to battle for the top 2 at the moment. Giuncadella's pretty much checked out at the moment. With this long lap as well, I'll see if I can bring up the weather conditions as well. Being at a late afternoon race, simulated time here, ambient temperature of 21 degrees centigrade, track temperature 23, so we've quite a lot of grip out there for the drivers here tonight. Winds at, I think that's a northeasterly at 12 kilometers an hour. Bit of an issue there with the wind direction there, but 70% humidity as well, so quite a challenge for the drivers out there with the conditions out there tonight, as Mizuno trying to get all over the back of Jackson Freer, 4/10 of a second gap at the moment.
You can see Freer just jumps a little bit in towards the middle of the road, not going to allow Mizuno up close enough there, so manages to hold third as they run down into Lacombe, and pretty hard little spot here to get a move. If you can get the run down the Camel Straight, good passing opportunity on entry there, but they'll need to just settle in now. Comes through Rivage and heading down into No Name, so going to be a little bit tidy through here, maybe just hold up on the back of that car there, and he should get a run towards the back end here if he's able to keep close.
Saw there Philip Kraus as well. I think he was moving up the inside of Chris Taylor as well, so that was an overtake that we missed. See if we can bring that one up quickly.
While we look for that, surprised to see Kraus able to keep the speed in that BMW after having that earlier contact with Pereira as well, who we saw stranded on the exit of Lacombe there, so we'll jump back to the replay.
So looking for the cutback at Malmedy, heading up the inside. It's just a case of being later on the brakes, and Chris Taylor jumping out of the way. I think it might have been a little bit slower at the time, as so Brad Jessen as well is all over the back of him at the moment. We're going to cut back to live.
And just in having a look down the inside, we'll get the nose of the car up in towards the bus stop, and he should get the pass done reasonably comfortably there. You see him drop in just a little bit of in and out, but Taylor actually dropping down another position. You see Mizuno get through as well, so I think we missed a little bit of an issue with Mizuno. He was right up towards the front, not too far a lap ago off the back of Jackson Freer there, so something potentially gone wrong with his lap.
Yeah, just to see it cut back. Here we go. Let's see if we can find the proper replay. There we go. As it's coming up into the Fania chicane. Ferrari, from my experiences from seeing it, it's had a bit of a tendency to be quite loose in the rear, so a bit of a setup issue there for Mizuno. It's not certainly unfortunate. He was looking very, very strongly within the top 5. But he rejoins back in the 12th position behind Jessen.
Yeah, I think with the pace that he's got, if he's able to just get the rear in check, and it could be a little bit of a brake bias change, obviously going in through the Fanny chicane there, you'd run a little bit of trail brake, which probably did help unsettle that car, so have a play with that. Maybe a little bit of traction control to tidy it up. Obviously these guys are not going to have an option. Seen with a big slide on the run into Puon, they're able to gather it up, but not having the option to come into pits and make any change will certainly make his night very, very complicated. Still just over 35 minutes left in this race, so a long way to go to get home.
Turning our attention to the lead of the GT3s at the moment, Martin Christensen has opened up a 3.6 second gap over Andreas Fink in the 2nd position. Coincidentally, it's all 3 Audis in the podium positions at the moment, so great to see that the Audis are having a very, very strong outing here at Spa. But leading Mercedes, as always, Clint Shane Smith, only half a second back from Walkowitz.
Yeah, one thing we've seen with Clint, especially over the course of last season, he has a car that comes on really good towards the back end of the race and seems to be quite kind on the tyres. So it'll be interesting to see this early on, obviously keeping the pace with the guys up towards the front and actually gaining a little bit as you see him on board through the bus stop there. I'd look for him to possibly come on a little bit stronger in the second half of this one, but hopefully if he's unable to not lose touch, he should set himself up for a really good run on the way home.
Coming out of the source hairpin. Certainly got a great exit. And through Eau Rouge we go. It's a bit of a lift, or there's almost got the off-track time penalty there. It's on the ragged edge there in terms of track limits, but not able to get up to back of the Audi as quickly as they would have liked with the likes of Walkowitz in the draft of Andreas Fink.
Yeah, that was something we didn't really see last season, the Audi not being as quick on its feet. I think the balance of performance maybe shifted just a touch to help get that car a little up towards the pointy end, because we know last season heavily dominated by the Mercedes, so to have the Audi up in the fight as well, really great to see. And I know for yourself and I, mate, we've touched on it many times, a car that we both really, really enjoy getting out on track and having to drive when we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Also with that, the note of the V10, having experienced it personally at the Nürburgring back at Sim Racing Expo 2018, so it's always great to have the Audi fighting towards the front, but also it's full credit to the Mercedes drivers as well to be able to stick it to the Audi drivers as well, and it's great to see that the balance of performance as well has been tightened up even more, so it creates this great action that we've got here today.
Yeah, definitely, and just behind this little scrap as we're keeping an eye on there, I was going to say Jeremiah Morton's still holding in for that. We jumped up front here now with Scott Harris in the BMW. He's trying to work on the back of Tim Weston, who we saw coming on strong towards the back end of last season, and right behind there you've got Michael Thompson as well. So a couple of the BMW cars a little further down the order, but slowly making their way up towards the pointy end.
Yeah, certainly with Scotty Harris putting in a time that was near enough 6 tenths clear of Tim Weston, he will certainly be looking to put some pressure on within the next lap or two, given that the gap is about 3/4 of a second at the moment. Coming from Malmedy and into Rivage. That BMW looking very, very stable through this. It's not known as No Name Corner anymore, but through Prawn they go. I think that's it's Jackie X Corner, I think it is now, formerly known as No Name. But might have to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that I'm not too sure of. We might have to look into that. Maybe the viewers out there potentially have an idea on that one.
Also, Reece Saunders as well, looking a little bit further forward. Scott Copper's Laurent all over the back of him at the moment. Another Porsche v Ferrari battle, as I think it was Weston and Harris, Porsche versus BMW.
Yeah, this little battle for fourth position really starting to heat up. Laurent managing to close up a long way this lap. Thinks about having a dive down the inside. Still 0.3 of a second behind, so not close enough to get a move there done. But he's coming on quite strong now in the Ferrari. I think the tyre's up to pace of where he needs to be and pushing on exactly where he needs to be right now.
Yeah, Laurent all over the back. Saunders now is certainly closest up within the last lap or so. 2 minute 14.2 for Saunders, 2 minute 13.9 for Laurent. This is that Laurent's going to have a go around the outside. That Ferrari's certainly got the straight line advantage. They're going to have to go side by side, but I think that Porsche is going to have the run and the line in.
And to Laurent's credit, there hasn't given up on this fight. They run down and through Rivage, still trying to hang on tight, just checking through No Name. He's able to get the nose of that Ferrari in just a little bit tighter than what we're seeing. Sorry, the BMW getting in out just a little bit. The Ferrari, yeah, really starting to tuck in nicely.
Certainly great defensive driving from Saunders to hold off Laurent. That's going to allow Scotty Harris and Tim Weston to join this battle as well. 2 minute 13.1 for Harris last time around, so I think that might have been due to the overtake that Harris did, because I think he was behind Weston at either a lap or two ago.
Yeah, so there was a change there, and actually last lap too we saw Michael Thompson have a big off-track excursion down through Braun as well, so he dropped a long way down out of the back of this fight as well.
Just trying to see if I can find the overtake from Scotty Harris, but I don't think I can find it at the moment. Actually, no, here we go. Managed to find it, so it's up through the Camel Straight, and it looks as though that he's got the overspeed through the draft over the top of Radion, and Weston just doesn't put up a fight really, just try to minimise the time. So Harris up into the 6th position. Philip Kraus.
Yeah, smart bit of driving there.
Yeah, absolutely, with Philip Kraus and Chris Taylor as well. Because that Kraus still trying to maintain the 11th position at the moment. Thought Taylor might have had the run on the outside, but it was not going to be far enough up for Taylor to get the run. Back in the GT3s, see so that Clint has had a potential issue that we may have missed as well. He's in the 7th position at the moment. It's a bit of a unforced error from him to see him that far back, but battle on screen at the moment. Morton and Walkowitz as well. Very, very strong battle between the Mercedes and the Audi.
Yeah, definitely. Morton coming on really strong. We saw him a little way back, only just a couple of laps ago with Clint in the mix there. But fortunately, whatever's befallen Clint has allowed Morton to get up. You see him having a big off-track excursion, so we will get a off-track there for that. But he's pushing extremely hard in that Mercedes, right? So we're also seeing Laurent come down the lane for his stop as well. So one of our front runners coming through there. You can see a few really tore up cars in the lane, and that's a few of our competitors unfortunately not able to continue on tonight. Looks like a couple of Mercedes in the lane. I think that might be Paul Matters and Matt Koch. So unfortunate for those drivers. You see Laurent come down for a stop. Phil Klaus, so pushing on, that'll jump him a little bit further up the order. Now finds himself in 9th position, obviously still does have that stop to go. And the damage from that earlier incident not seeming to impact him too much so far.
Yeah, certainly, just looking at the lap times, it's certainly at a similar pace to the likes of Saunders, Harris, Weston and Thomas. Brad Jessen was quite a lot quicker, about 0.7 of a second faster that last lap time around. With Philip Kraus, the fastest time at the moment was 2:13.7, so certainly got the average lap time in there, but sadly he doesn't have the outright pace to close up on the drivers ahead, so we'll see how his result will fare within the next 25 or so minutes.
Yeah, definitely, and just checking through the YouTube chat as well, it looks like a lot of the viewers commenting it's still known around the world as No Name Corner, so great to see that there. We're actually seeing a couple of guys comment on the front missing off the front of Phil there, so he had that issue earlier on in lap 1, but that car's still going quite strong. Out front, however, Daniel Juncadella extending his lead quite a long way. Looks like he's about to put a lap on Dylan Pereira, so a couple of real world drivers going at it around the circuit, but Daniel has been able to extend a huge lead at the moment, up 12 seconds ahead of Tim Eliza and Jackson Freer, another 4 or 6 seconds behind that. So these guys really getting on with it. As you can see the track map up on screen at the moment, the field starting to really spread out.
Yeah, certainly you just see that Juncadella's putting a lap, as I say, on Pereira. It's good to see that Pereira is able to rejoin the race, but is still, by the looks of it, 6 laps down. Certainly trying to regain that little bit of safety rating that he would have lost with that crash at Le Combe on lap number 1. For those that missed it, so that's what happened to Pereira. I think it was a little bit of contact with
his contact there was with Klaus in the BMW while he was stationary, waiting for that field to clear through there. So a little bit of unfortunate damage. He did have a very, very long pit stop, as you say, 6 laps of time there. So gonna be a quiet night for him, but knowing how quick the guy is in real life, he should be able to hang on towards the back of Juncadella. We know their qualifying times only about a second apart, and obviously saw Juncadella having, Pereira having a little bit of a wobble on the exit of the bus stop chicane there to finish his qualifying lap. So I have a feeling that Ferrari will be quite capable in his hands. But Scott Harris now working on the back of Reece Saunders. These guys are working their way up towards Stavelot, and both cars are really starting to find themselves drawn together.
Yeah, certainly with Harris putting in some solid lap times consistently over the last 4 or 5 laps. As they're working up to the back of Blanchimont right now on the end of lap number 10. Scotty Harris potentially picking up an off track there. Gotta watch out for those with the implementation of the new penalty system as Harris into the pit lane. so he feels as though he's being held up a little bit, so he'll try and make the undercut work. But I think now with the incident point system, I think that once you hit 17, I think you get a pit lane penalty. It was introduced in the start of the 2020 season 1 build, so it's good to have that penalty system implemented, so we still have drivers on the track and not disappearing so suddenly once they hit the incident cap.
Yeah, definitely. I think that will certainly increase the racing standards as you see the BMW there, Harris coming back out into the fold. But yeah, for the guys that used to always may have hit that limit and just opted straight out, it gives them a bit of a second bite of the cherry to come back in and continue pushing on here.
Certainly with Chris Taylor and Jason Muscat at the moment, separated by about 7/10 of a second as well. So this is the closest battle in the GTEs at the moment, as well as Harris on the back of this train as well. Closest battle in the GT3s at the moment is again Morton and Wolkowitz.
Yeah, positions 2, 3 and 4 really starting to close up now. Just over 20 minutes, or just under 20 minutes, sorry, to go in this race, and the battle for second, third, fourth really starting to heat up. As you can see, Christensen managed to really eke clear of these guys, and he's got away pretty well unscathed here at the moment, but the battle for the minor placings really starting to heat up.
Yeah, certainly with Fink putting in a 2-minute 15.4 last time around. Wolkowitz was much quicker, about 2.5 tenths faster like that last time around. In terms of the best laps, they're all pretty much identical. So the battle for the second, third and fourth position still very much hotted up with just crossed 25-minute mark, so 20 minutes plus 1 lap to go. As we've got GT3 leader Martin Christensen into the pit lane, so Andreas Fink will take the provisional lead, as Jeremiah Morton as well into the pit lane, Gabriel Rizzo as well. So a lot of GT3s coming through the lane.
Yeah, and about kind of when we did normally expect him to see Smith also ducking in as well. We saw traditionally last year most of these drivers coming in around that 25-minute elapsed time frame. Not a bad opportunity to come in, to take a 5-minute or it's just a short breather, get reset and back underway. These pit stops will be very quick, so look for them to be back out underway in the not too distant future as well.
Most of the GT3s are actually into the pit lane as well, so obviously the top two have not pitted. Just looking through the next GT3 to not have pitted is Osmar Schultz, but we've got Theo Grant in the background as well. He's coming out of the pit lane, so he is in 7th position at the moment. Chris Taylor and Scotty Harris. Harris moving up into 9th position.
Yeah, Taylor doing a really solid job at the moment, pushing on. He did lose that position to Scott, but these guys not separated by much at all. Jason Muscat just behind them as well, and potential that these three are going to continue scrapping on for this last 18 minutes. But surprising to see the BMW being as strong as it is out on track at the moment. I would have thought the long wheelbase might be favoured that a bit through these high-speed corners, but the Ferrari in capable hands, certainly still able to keep up with it.
Yeah, having a bit of experience within the last couple of weeks. During week 13, the AMF GT series had a bit of a fun hosted event in the BMW, when I was in the BMW, so you certainly know the ins and outs of the BMW and how capable it is, certainly demonstrated by the front two GTEs at the moment being BMWs. But also, yeah, as you say, that Ferrari and also to a certain extent the Porsche as well being very, very strong as well. Sadly, the only Ford GT in the field, Matthew Littlefur, is out of the race. He's 8 laps down at the moment. I think he's certainly in the pit lane at the moment, retired with potential issues as well.
Yeah, definitely a little unfortunate there, and we know, speaking of the AMF, the Ford, sorry, very, very quick car in that championship, unfortunately not quite getting the love we would have thought for it, and like I say, the DP obviously not getting a run tonight either, unfortunately as well, but for the guys that have come up, the racing's been absolutely fantastic so far. This scrap with Muscat and Taylor, see up on screen, still going strong. Morton and well, actually Fink here, and who's that? Walker's just in front there. Both these two scrapping now, second and third position on the run down through the Camel.
Yeah, I was just saying where the three drivers were relative to each other in a fairly close pit stop phase, and Volkowitz is holding on as much as he can. I think it was Fink running up the back of him through the middle of Lacombe. As Volkowitz goes very, very wide, and that'll allow Fink to get up the inside, but the traction that Volkowitz was able to get through Ravage. Fink looking at the inside on too wide, and Volkowitz has to back out.
This little scrap will actually start opening the door for Jeremiah Morton to close. You can see him in the back of frame there in the Mercedes while these two are scrapping. He's moving ever closer, so we could see this three-way fight again start to really heat up.
Yeah, certainly an aggressive move there from Fink, but definitely paid off. He currently sits in the second position. Martin Christensen is 10.6 seconds up the road from his current battle here, so Christensen certainly showing his dominance in his Audi for Radicals Online. Bit of a twitch there for Fink, but makes it through safely with Blanchimont, and start lap number 14. Volkowitz getting very, very close on the brakes as well as Morton, all over the back of that Audi for the final podium position.
Yeah, look, for Morton to potentially get actually I thought he might have gone for a dive down the inside towards La Source there, but I think he'll probably play it smart here, try and take the draft down through the Camel Straight, maybe look for a move down into Lacombe. This time by the gap between all three, next to nothing, only less than half a second between all of these three drivers.
Certainly we've got the movers and shakers up on screen at the moment, and biggest mover of the field, Scotty Harris, in the sixth position at the moment, so he's about having a very, very strong race here today. As well, full credit to him in the BMW for One Performance Racing. And
yeah, he's come on really, really strong throughout the course of this run. Looks like two leaders in that GTE field also jumping in the lane for their one and only stop.
yeah, also Jackson Freer into the pit lane as well. Juncadella re-inheriting the lead, just ahead of Saunders and Weston. They're one of only two of only three cars that have not pitted. We've also got Jason Muscat as well in the 7th position, has not pitted, but he's, as I say, he's into the pit lane right now. So 2 cars left to have pitted, and I would expect that they would be in this lap, given that we're 32 minutes down into the race, and we've only got 13 minutes plus 1 lap to go.
Yeah, certainly not long of the race. So it might be also worth just jumping up here to Copper de Laurent and Brad Jessen. These guys really scrapping hard on the run down the Camel Straight. And last time by, when they crossed the line, only 0.18 of a second between both of these two Ferraris. So you see Jason trying to get down the inside, and he should be able to make that move quite comfortably. He gets it tucked in quite nicely, but it will give Laurent a bit of a run on the exit there. He might be able to try a bit of a crisscross on the run down through Rivage, but I think maybe just lost that little bit of traction too much.
Yeah, Justin having a very, very strong event, but Laurent around at Rivage just loses the back end, and that'll allow Michael Thomas to close up just that little bit. I think, no, who is that? I think that's a lap car, number 29. That's Giovanni Pacifici, who is one lap down from Laurent. So Michael Thomas did close up a little bit, still 4.7 seconds back. Oh, just I was looking for Fink and Walkowitz. There's a bit of contact at Lecombe, so gonna have to go back to a replay on that one.
Yeah, and I just thought while we pulled that up, I thought Walkowitz had just spun on the exit of Lecombe there as well, so that's a bit of an unforced error. Not sure whether there was some contact, but hopefully we'll get a chance to see that.
So Walkowitz looking up the inside at Lecombe, and oh no, I think there might have been a bit of netcode contact there, so unfortunate there for Walkowitz. Just getting out ahead of Gabriel Rizzo. But certainly looking strong for that final podium position and potentially moving up into second, but sadly hasn't worked out in his favour. So Andreas Fink and Jeremiah Morton into the final podium positions with just over 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think Morton probably played it safe here. He doesn't quite have the outright pace at the moment to match Fink, so maybe he might find himself settling down for third here, but no doubt he'll still push this final 10 minutes to see if he can bridge that gap. As we jump back here, Scott Harris, he's got Ryan Saunders all over him again, so this little fight's heating up again. A little bit of contact between these guys on the run through Rivage there, and they have not really been that far apart ever since that pass was done, so these guys are going to be really fighting out now.
Yeah, Seven quickly pick up the overtake there. Nope. I don't think that was the one that I was looking for. Nope. I will have to cut back to live, I think. Apologies for that, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, to be honest. In terms of picking up that replay there, but yeah, see that Harris is up into the fourth position. He's got 2.4 seconds to close in on Jackson Freer for the final podium position, and looking at the lap times, we'll have to see what Jackson's time is this time around. His last lap he was into the pit lane, so not really representative of what his true pace is.
Yeah, keeping a bit of an eye on the timing tree there. It looks like Harris does have a little bit stronger advantage in that BMW at the moment. We'll keep an eye as he closes down. You can see a drop 2 to 3/10 of a second under the brakes there. So the BMW coming on strong. Freer could potentially have a little bit of an issue with the tyres there, so we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously still just under 10 minutes now left in this one, and if he is able to keep the tyres under that car, he should hold steady. The lap time's been very, very good for him last time by. Both those drivers only 0.6 of a second between them, so overall lap time pretty close between both of them.
Yeah, certainly just looking at the gap at the moment, it's closed in about 1/10 of a second without draft, so potentially for Scotty Harris, he's got a little bit more trimmed out in terms of the aero balance. But if that's the case, then we'll see that Freer might be able to extend that gap in the middle part of the lap. Down to 2.2 now.
Yeah, this is the part where Harris really seems to come on down on the run through Pouan, and for the final run through towards the bus stop, the BMW, that slightly longer wheelbase, a little bit more planted and comfortable to drive through these quicker sections. We're hearing from some of the chat that the Ferrari now much harder following season 1 patch updates, and that's certainly going to make it tricky for the guys to get their head around. Obviously coming from really good setups they would have had last season, having to adjust and make those changes to get on top of it for season 1 2020, going to be very, very tough for them.
So we just got Muscat trying to get past the GT3 leader at the moment. This is the closest battle on track in terms of overall, but it looks as though that the field's spread out pretty few and far between. The closest battle, Saunders and Harris, but it's at Jackson Freer just working through the traffic at the moment. See if we can find a car number on that Mercedes. I think that would have been Paul Meadows, I think.
Yeah, I think that was Paul there, missing the rear end of that Mercedes. That's going to be a little bit tough to drive through here, so we'll keep an eye on that, although potentially just dropped out there, so we'll look to see where he's able to come back. But Harris getting a little bit better run on the run up through the Camel Straight. You see that Mercedes dropping in and out. That's a little bit unsettling for those guys trying to put a lap on him. But Harris starting to get that gap closed down, 1.6 seconds now, and he's taken just on 0.6 of a second off so far this lap.
Yeah, certainly. Just looking through the rest of the field now as well, we've got Theo Grant and Gabriel Rizzo closely following each other. Battle for 5th and 6th position. Rizzo trying to hold off Theo Grant. Getting a much better exit.
So yeah, both these drivers very, very close together on track. A little bit of a lap car in the form of Chris Taylor just ahead of them as well. So pushing on 5 minutes to go. Gabriel, as you say, got a great run out of the source there. You can see that Mercedes closing in on the run here, and goes from a long way back, gets that move done. That was the door opened up well and truly there by Rizzo.
Yeah, I don't know whether he actually got the slowdown penalty over the top of Radion. That may have been the case, but sometimes you may have to serve that before the end of the Kemble Straight, just so that it clears, so you don't get the black flag penalty. You have to serve a 15-second time penalty in the pit lane. So great consistency from Theo Grant has moved him up into the top 5. Clint Smith closing under the back of Gabriel Rizzo. Last lap time for him was a 2 minute 16.9. Best lap time of a 2 minute 15.5. So a little bit off the pace, but that potentially is due to the tyre fade. As see if we can bring up the weather quickly here. The track temperature's gone down 1 degree since the start of the race, so pretty much everything else is unchanged. Even the wind is still relatively similar, but in terms of pace, very, very close to see whether Smith is able to close in with about 2 laps to go from here.
Yeah, I think Smith's got good pace when we see him close a little bit up under brakes and towards the bus stop there. That car does have a touch of damage on it as well, so that would have probably been a result earlier on in the race where we did see him drop a long way down, but you can really see quite clearly now that gap between himself and Rizzo starting to close down. He goes down the inside, so not sure what's going on with Rizzo there. That's 2 very easy passes he's had put on him there, where he's just eased out of the gas very, very early on and allowed both Smith and Grant, to go past him. So unsure whether he's got some issues with that car or not, but very, very weird.
Just turning our attentions quickly back to the mid-pack of the GTEs. Brad Jessen just having a little bit of a connection issue there briefly, but Reece Saunders still into the top 5. Got all sorts of pressure from Jessen and Weston. Porsche, Ferrari, Porsche, 5th, 6th and 7th. At the moment, see what time Saunders manages to put out. 2 minute 14.9. Jessen much quicker, 1.8 seconds quicker. In fact, closing right on the back of that Porsche, and Weston on a 2 minute 14.2, so still closing in on Saunders, but Jessen's got the advantage at the moment, going through radio. He's going to have to run, but see whether he's going to make the overtake this time. Saunders going defensive. Side by side they go, and Saunders gets the line, and Jessen has to hold position. So just a little bit further up the road as well, Freer and Harris, very, very close as well. Harris was 6/10 clear of, Harris was 6/10 clear of Jackson Freer last lap as well. He's going to cut back to this battle for the back end of the top 5.
Saunders working that Ferrari very hard to try and get a move done there. He's also bringing Weston along for the run here as well, so any contact between both these two up front could potentially open the door for Tim Weston to go through quite nicely. So keep an eye on this, but Jessen certainly putting that Ferrari everywhere he possibly shouldn't and everywhere he should to try and get a move done, and really trying to get inside the mind there of Reece Saunders, who's doing a fantastic job, it must be said, to hold off, as the guys are going to be working their way around. One more lap still to go as we see Yuncadella on the run up towards Rouge. So one more flying lap here for Brad Jessen to try and get another move on, but let's look for the run down in towards the bus stop here. We'll keep an eye on this.
Ferrari trying to go around the outside of the bus stop. Not getting the cutback that he would have liked, and that's going to allow Weston to try and get up the inside. But the power of that Ferrari has certainly got the advantage under traction.
Looking at the Ferrari on X there, he got a really nice run off mid-corner through La Source. He managed to lose just a touch on the run up towards the Rouge there, but really pushing hard. He's going to have a nice run down here through the Camel Straight, and these guys are, wouldn't be surprised if we see Saunders try and park that Porsche down the middle. As we see him go there, down towards the middle, makes it very, very hard for Jessen to get through, but Jessen's got a great toe and gets the move done, I believe, down the outside. That's a big run through the Camel Straight there, and also Tim Weston trying to come along for the run as well.
Yeah, there was a bit of a connection issue there for Jessen, so that may have contributed to Saunders having to back out, as there's a bit of contact there from Weston. I think we're going to have to cut back to the leader. It's coming out of Paul Frere for the final time, and through Blanchimont, Juncadella. What can we say? It's been an absolutely stellar performance here. Opened up a 29.1 second gap as he runs a little bit wide on the entry to the final part of the bus stop, and will take the bus stop for the final time, and he will take the second round of the iRacing IMSA Sportscar Championship here at Francorchamps, and congratulations to him, Tim Alzer. Certainly a very, very consistent performance and a strong result for him, and at the moment looking to take the second position, 7 seconds ahead of Jackson Freer. Not sure what happened to Scotty Harris, who is falling down the timing screen at the moment, but free across the line as well. So that pretty much rounds up the podium. See where Christensen is at the moment. He's coming up through Cove Pro Ferry right now, so for Christensen as well has been a fairly dominant performance for the Radicals Online driver. He is currently 15 seconds ahead of Andreas Fink, so yeah, as I said, dominant performance. Certainly would expect nothing less of the highest I rating driver in the field, and he will round the bus stop for the final time, and he will take the GT3 category win here for the second round of the IMSA Sportscar Championship. Congratulations to him. And Andreas Fink is able to hold off Jeremiah Morton as he's about to accelerate out for the final time. He will take the second position, and not too far behind is Jeremiah Morton, so he will take the final podium position. Adam Wolkowitz is what could have been for him. A bit of contact in the latter stages of the race for the Audi driver, and Clint Smith also what could have been. He was looking fairly strong in the early part of the race, but sadly he will have to settle for 6th position as well. It looks as though that only got one more driver on the field at the moment. That's Osmar Schultz, and he's trying to fight the car at the moment, trying to get home. Potential damage. But yeah, what a cracking race we've had here tonight. Certainly a lot of action here tonight. What are your thoughts as we're about to conclude the race here tonight?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really, really good race to see. Everyone got on well. Fantastic run from Ukadela to extend his gap as far as he did. He basically dominated the field from qualifying all the way through. Race conditions, the battles mid-pack and into the GT3 is really, really solid as well. We're also hearing Harris ran out of fuel as we were watching Christensen come along the line. I think we caught a glimpse of him trying to get that car back on the run up to Blanchimont there. But all in all, I think racing very, very nice tonight.
So here is the race results for the second round of the IMSA Sportscar Championship, and Daniel Juncadella wins for the second time in the season as well. So he's gone back to back over Tim Olser, 29-second gap at the end there. Jackson Free rounding out the podium. Brad Jessen with that awesome overtake on the final lap at Lecombe over Reece Saunders for the 4th and 5th position. Tim Weston very, very close as well. Coppitas Laurent as well in the 7th position. Michael Thomas 8th. Philip Kraus manages to get home in 9th position, running out the top 10 overall, but taking out the GT3 category win was Martin Christensen. Jason Muscat in 11th position. Andreas Fink takes the 12th position overall, but second in GT3. Jeremiah Morton rounding out the podium in the GT3s. Adam Volkowitz 14th. Theo Grant 15th. Clint Smith 16th. Chris Taylor 17th. 18th. Sadly, Scotty Harris with that fuel issue on the final lap. Did not take enough fuel, so he'll be certainly wanting to learn from that mistake tonight and take that into the next round of the championship. 19th position was Peter Coulson. Gabriel Rizzo rounding out the top 20. Ricardo Gallaretta, 21st position. Osmar Schultz, 22nd. Bastian Matla, 23rd. Giovanni Pacifici. Dylan Pereira finishes in 6 laps down on the leaders, but I think he was able to continue from when he came out of the pit lane with 15 minutes elapsed. Chris Barnes, 26th. Paul Metters, 27th position. Koaki Mizuno in the 28th position, finishes 14 laps down. Matthew Littlefair, our only Ford driver in the field tonight, but finishes 29th position. Lance Loomis in the 30th position, Oliver Krupp and Matt Kosher rounding out the field here tonight.
So with that, we might get in Reece Saunders. Looks like he's jumped up for a chat. Reece finishing 5th outright tonight. And g'day Reece, welcome to the commentary box, mate. Good run for yourself there. Started 7th, found yourself up into 5th position tonight. The car working very well for you out there by the looks of it.
Yeah, set was fantastic. The car was good. I struggled a little bit with rear locking at Interlagos, but seemed to have been cleared up here at Spa. So really happy with it. I thought about short fueling at my stop, and then at the last moment wimped out and took a bit extra. Otherwise, I'd have been in the same position as Scotty at the end.
Yeah, well, it looked like both yourself and Scott coming in for a really good run towards the back end of the race. How did you find the Porsche overall? It looked like it was maybe a little bit slower than what we'd seen with the BMWs, but still able to hold its own pretty comfortably.
Yeah, it was able to hold its own. I struggled in the high-speed stuff, but in the slow stuff, especially in the bus stop, it was phenomenal. Was good. I struggled to get the front to bite in Eau Rouge, though, for the first half of the race, which hindered progress.
Yeah, definitely. But no, all in all, a good race, mate. And again, congratulations on 5th. Before we let you go, was there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my Turn 4 Motorsports teammates. Doing a great job with the set. Got dropped into my inbox at 8 this morning, so cheers to them for that, and cheers to the guys for the clean race.
Fantastic, mate. Well, all the best, and hope we can see you back out next week out.
Cheers, fellas. See you there.
I think with a couple of extra drivers coming in, I think we'll bring in the winner of tonight's event. Just quickly, Danny, congratulations on taking out the second round of the IMSA Sportscar Championship. Did you think that it was going to be a quite a tough race out there with the level of competition out there, or was the car hooked up there with yourself able to pull that massive gap over the course of the race?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think the BMW is very, very good around. I mean, with the new BOP, it's even better. I'm actually quite new to iRacing, but I've been getting flat out this winter since there's not much real life racing going on for me on winter. So yeah, really liking it, and it's a really cool series. Actually, it's the first race I do for this streaming Apex Racing TV, and I saw a couple of races you guys did before, and I saw the level was always very high. So yeah, I was expecting it to be hard, but I did quite a lot of training, quite some laps with the BMW. Also Interlagos last week, I was driving quite a lot. So I have to say I felt pretty comfortable with the car.
Yeah, absolutely. With yourself having been fairly new to iRacing, was it a fairly solid choice for you to take the BMW, or have you tried all the other cars as well and found yourself more so in the BMW to your liking?
Yeah, well, actually, beginning of when I started in iRacing, I chose the BMW because it was the easiest car to drive for me. Then I upgraded a bit my hardware. I was running like very standard pedals and steering, and now upgraded to hoisting belt pedals, which made my life a lot easier with all the cars, a lot more consistency. And actually, my driving was better for the Ford, I would say. I was liking the Ford quite a lot. But with the new BOP, the BMW seems a bit faster, seems a bit better. So I chose this one for the beginning of this season, 2020, and it seems to be working pretty well.
Well, turning our attentions to next week, we head to Monza. What are your thoughts heading into the next round of the championship, but also with the strengths of the other cars, how do you think the BMW will fare?
I'm not sure, and I think Monza is a very good track for the Ferrari. But I'm also not sure if I will be able to make it because I'm going on holidays in 2 days, and don't think I will have the chance to race next week. But we'll be back for the next ones for sure.
Not a problem, Danny. Just before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out or thanks to?
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Oh, sorry. Is there any like sponsors you would like to give a shout out to? Sorry, mate.
Oh, sorry. No, well, actually, I'm driving for AAA esports right now. I'm still pretty new to iRacing, honestly, so don't really have much going on. But yeah, I'd like to thank Hoising Belt because they supplied me with some really good pedals and precision sim engineering with my steering wheel and SimuCube with the direct drive, and pretty amazing, yeah, to have all this stuff. And yeah, it's helping me perform like you guys saw tonight. So that's good. Thanks, guys.
No worries. Well, thanks very much for that, Danny, and certainly wish you all the best if you manage to turn up next week. But if not, then for round number 4 of the championship, which heads to the Imola Grand Prix layout.
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys.
So that was Danny Juncadella, our overall winner here today in the GTEs. Just going to bring in Martin Christensen, and we'll hand it over to Dan for the final interview.
G'day, Martin. Mate, congratulations on taking class win in the GT3 tonight. The Audi looking very, very solid and great to see with the car out there. How was the race for yourself, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know, but I really enjoy the Audi as of lately. So it's just like killing time today, and yeah, I enjoy these morning races. But the car felt good. I just downloaded a VRS setup and didn't do much practice. did the race before this as the practice, so yeah, could have gone faster, but like, yeah, all in all, really good race.
Yeah, well, look, you're able to walk away pretty comfortably from Andreas Fink and Jeremiah Morton and the guys in the other GT3 cars, and for both Scott and myself, we hold a pretty fond spot for the Audi, so great to see it up towards the front. But obviously jumping in with a relatively untested set, how did you find that it sort of performed over the course of the race? Any major issues with tyre degradation or issues with the balance in the car towards the back end at all?
Not really. The car felt stable throughout the stint. Maybe the front tires went off a little bit, understeering through Rousse Radion and also Blanchimont. You had to lift a bit more towards the end, but like with the track getting a bit more degradation, it sort of canceled itself out. So the set was actually pretty good. Like it didn't kill the tires or anything, but we also had pretty low temps today, so maybe that played a factor too.
Yeah, definitely lower temps certainly helping the car out there. Found yourself in a bit of a mix with some the GT3 car or GTE car. Sorry, any issues with those drivers you're finding yourself getting past or through as you went around?
Yeah, I don't know. Like for the most part, they behaved really well, but I have to say a big sorry to Chris Taylor, the number 24 car. Like he had a big wiggle up through Radion and had to lift massively, and I was right behind him. And I had nowhere to go because I couldn't brake hard myself because I had Jason, the 22 car, right behind me. So if I would have slammed the brakes, he would have hit me. So, and like, the cars, especially in the GT3 cars, the car is really unlimited on the top of the hill. So I unfortunately hit him, and I think that resulted in him hitting the wall. So a big sorry to him, but yeah, as I said, there was nothing I could do.
No worries at all, mate. But no, congratulations again on the win for this one. Hopefully, we'll catch you back out again next week. Scotty was saying we're off to Monza next week, which should be a lot of fun. But before we let you go, is there anyone you wanted to give a shout out and a thanks to?
Yeah, of course, the all of Radical's sponsors, and also a big shout out to VRS for providing the setup. And also thanks to you guys for broadcasting the race. It's a bit odd spot, but I really enjoy doing these morning races. So yeah, thank you.
Fantastic, mate. Well, yeah, all the best, and hopefully we'll catch you out next week for Monza.
Yeah. Yep. See you guys.
So that was our GT3 category winner, Martin Christensen, taking the win out, and certainly a dominant performance from him. Was, I think, to the tune of about 15 seconds gap over Andreas Fink. But yeah, as we said, turning to next week, heading to Monza. What are your thoughts, Dan? Say that Danny Giancadella mentioning that the Ferrari was going to look pretty strong, but yeah, as I said, what are your thoughts heading into the next round of the championship?
Look, I think with the outright pace that we've seen with the Ferrari, probably could be a bit of a contender, especially with the long straight that Monza has. I think BMW might be a little bit better as far as the braking goes, maybe down into towards turn one. Obviously, that tight chicane probably going to suit it a little bit more, but with the way that the circuit goes around, I would expect the likes of the Ferrari or potentially even the Porsche to probably be up towards the pointy.
Yeah, absolutely, and also in the GT3s as well. The Audi looking very, very strong, but over the course of the previous season with the Mercedes, would think that they would certainly have a chance as well with those long straights as well, given that the engine performance of the Mercedes is probably a little bit more superior over the Audi. But yeah, I think that will pretty much wrap it up. And yeah, thanks again once for joining me this week. Certainly looking forward to your company next week, hopefully. But with Christmas week upon us within the next 8 days or so, certainly wish everyone a safe Christmas and a happy New Year. And that'll pretty much wrap it up here for the second round of the iRacing IMSA Sportscar Championship here at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Certainly looking forward to your company next week at the same time of 8:45 GMT on the Tuesdays for the third round of the championship. But that'll pretty much wrap it up. And on behalf of Daniel Leet, my name is Scott Newton, and we'll catch you in a further broadcast on here on Apex Racing TV.